Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. We have another supporter stream today, and we're going to be talking about Linux distributions. Which is the best Linux distributions for 2022? Collective thoughts. We have World of Unix is back, and we have Moonbase Alpha Grays if his camera starts working again. But and of course we have Ivan, we have Sulbu, and we have Dan on today. Of course. Okay, I'm getting feedback from one of you guys.
It's
Moonbase, is it you?
I have nothing else on.
Okay, I think it's Moonbase. Oh, hold on. Okay, I muted Moonbase. All right. There we are. Moonbase, if we can figure out the how to get the echo on and off, we'll get that done. Headphones always works.
He's listening to the stream at the same time.
Yep. All right. So anyway, greetings. Welcome back. I'm melting. I'm melting multiple ways. And I just had like this massively hot chili too. So it's just like, whew, I'm hot. I'm hot all around. Hey, welcome back, Moonbase. Greetings, welcome back. We're still getting feedback from you, Moonbase. Melting multiple ways. Yeah, we're getting. Yep. All right. Not sure what's going on there. It's possible, like sometimes the Jitsi settings.
I think I know what's going on.
Oh,
his input sound is selected as his computer, so it's not the microphone with the input source.
Yeah, we're getting. Oh, okay. Moonbase, if you can hear us, go down to Jitsi and change the
I think I know what's going on. His input sound is
that's what I think's going on. Yeah.
So it's not the microphone with the input.
Okay, I'm going to mute you for a second until you get that switched over. Moonbase, if you can. All right, I'm going to mute that until it gets it switched over.
You must be on Arch.
Hey. Shots fired.
Yeah. So, Moonbase, if you can hear us, down at the bottom of the screen, there is one of the things is a microphone icon with a little hat or an up arrow on it. Click that and select your microphone input in the microphone. I think it's something else.
That's what I think is going on. I think it's the Jitsi's feeding into the computer audio, which, hey, that's neat. All right. Is it Jordan Pinnock? I don't know. Not too much wrong with Fedora. There you go. All right. Commodore fan. Yeah. If you comment super early, yeah, Google does delete all of those early before the show starts. Moonbase, hopefully you get your microphone sorted out there. I'd love to chat with you on the screen today. Anchorage is on. Greetings. Dan Kelly. Hello. Is anyone here that's in here that's not on the Jitsi call? Fluffy Cloud. I don't think you're on the Jitsi call. Hello. All right, Drazzler review. Heat is nearly unbearable today. Your AC went down?
Oh, that's
AC
horrible.
Going down in a rehab center. That's even worse. That's like get it fixed or a lawsuit's coming, you know? Elementary and Ubuntu, I would not use directly. The others are good. Yeah, I just threw a bunch of random Linux stuff on there. No endorsement on the particular items that were on my thumbnail. We're going to talk about the different things. So don't go with what's in the picture. Go with what the discussion is about. Linux Mint 20.3 works only as a sort of VM. It won't load on Lenovo. Really? Although I have noticed a few issues with the Linux Mint 20.3 that I think are artifacts of the pitch hash of the current Ubuntu framework. And I think that's a lot of the issues and problems having to do with it. Fat Cat give thanks. Yeah, I have a Fat Cat right here too. He's like, it's hot, yo. Yes, it is. I should have put on my t-shirt today instead of the polo. So far on Starlink only outage, make me angry that you have to have a smartphone to get to some of the settings. That's another reasons why I'm not really interested in Starlink. You cannot put together a standard router that's accessible through the Ethernet on my computer to change settings in your system. What type of nonsense is that? It's like you're using it for internet. Give me the ability to edit it on internet. I mean, I'm not saying exclusively. Sure, have the app too for people that can't figure out how to plug an Ethernet cable into a router in a computer. I'm okay with that, but don't make it user-friendly.
Every other router or modem out there has a way to get in through a web browser. Why can't they do the same?
Absolutely, yeah. Had to sideload the app at the Play Store, would just tell me that the device was not compatible. Well, hey, I'm okay if they offer us a sideload. That brings me slightly higher into the capabilities of using it. So, hey, if it's a sideloaded app, maybe I'll throw it onto one of these Lineage phones without micro G and see if it works. I don't know. Don't know about the weather and Starlink yet. Monsoon stopped when I put it up. See, it blocked the monsoons. It's awesome. It blocks monsoons. Double Dan on as he said he has nothing on cat. What? Ping 8300. Area is still beta waiting list, so it may improve. All right. Party Sipa, how's it going there? I was waiting for an Arch comment. Hey, we got one. Good thing. Best Linux distro 2022. Anything that isn't Mac OS or Windows. There you go. Ubuntu can take a hike. There you go. Debian and Pure OS have been freezing on me. Going to try Fedora again. You could try the Pizza's new Reese OS. We talked about it on Saturday if you did not watch that video. It's Fedora with easy GUI installation of all those extra Fedora steps and some extra tools. It's pretty cool. Still do Linux Mint even if it's on Ubuntu. My next computer build's going to switch over to Linux Mint Debian Edition, I think. That's what I'm probably going to do. All right, anybody else want to jump in with any pre-thoughts before we get into the main content?
Well, there's only a few select Linux distributions that I would recommend. Most of them aren't exactly up to par with what I'm doing as a daily basis on my computer, right? Especially like the popular Linux distributions, those are the distros that are most important. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Salbu, initial thoughts?
I had some, but they vanished from my head. So
The train of thought has derailed. All right.
yeah.
Ivan, your way?
Yeah. The thoughts that I had came to me through the ICANN. I have a story about that on my videos.
Nice.
Yeah, because I can. It's round, it's cylindrical, and the inside smells like nothing because I've had it since January.
But can you get domains through there?
Sometimes.
Okay, all right.
And I can hear little voices sometimes. And one of them, I happen to manage to figure out that they were telling me that, hey, a good OS is this that you could kind of go in from. So what I was thinking was like in regards to, let's say, if you're coming straight over from Windows, I think one of the better ones to kind of introduce that would probably be Zorin as a rough kind of skin on the surface kind of thing, just to kind of get in and just see how it works. And then moving on to Linux Mint, even the Ubuntu side. I mean, I use LMDE, but it's like the Ubuntu side is perfectly fine. And it's very much like a Windows, what was it, 90, what was it, the 07 release, Windows 7 types, and then you can, of course, move on to the Windows 10 like things, play with it and learn it a little bit more, and kind of use the Windows like GUI experiences to kind of start on. And then if you happen to get some, get a hair across your backside, then you can go on and delve into the other OSs that are a little more involved.
Absolutely. And Zorin's good for the various easy to access theming stuff. Dan, what are your early thoughts here?
I have to support Peppermint.
All right. You are contractually obligated to support Peppermint.
Let me tell you something. Everybody thinks that Peppermint, when they start the installer, that it's really overwhelming because you have all these apps and stuff to choose from. And yeah, if you don't know nothing about Linux or the software packages, it can be a big hurdle to get over. But here's the thing. You don't have to use none of that stuff. Bypass it and install it. And then you can put the stuff in you want later after it's installed. It's built that way. It's built to be very lightweight to download. If you have crummy internet like I do, you can have the whole distro, whether you want 32-bit, 64. They're going to come out with Debian, which is a non-system D. It's a sys-v version like of Peppermint, and it looks harder than it really is. I mean, how much easier can you get than XFCE?
Yeah. I'll throw this out to you. Maybe you address it with the team. I tried to download Peppermint 4 times. I could not get it downloading. Kept on download fails. So, like, I don't know if it was mirrors or what the case is, but the only spot I know of to download is SourceForge. I looked for other alternative places, and I could not get it downloaded. I just kept on download failed. So that's why I wanted to do
SourceForge is our home place, believe it or not.
Yeah, well,
You should get
it's
it
not
from
working right.
SourceForge.
It's not working right for
Well,
whatever reason. So
Peppermint's enjoying over 500 downloads a week, man. The server's really busy.
It's very possible that it's overloaded. That's what I'm saying is a few download mirrors would be a good thing. Because every single time I've tried to download it several times in the last week, it just keeps failing. So.
I mean, and another thing, if somebody likes something that's even more like window-like lookish, Titan OS is a good choice too because it's KDE, and they build their distro right out of the box to look like Windows and feel like Windows, and you know, things are all opened up when you go to settings, so you don't have to dig for stuff, and that's a good starter distro as well.
I'm trying to download it right now, Peppermint OS.
Yeah, let me know if it's working for you.
too.
It's possible
'cause
I'm just trying to download it at times when the server's crowded. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because I tried
Right.
I did not try from my internet in the van. I tried from like 4 different hotspots. One of them I downloaded 2 other Linux distros at the same time.
2 hours left for me. So it's downloading, it's just slow.
Yeah. Mine's showing 4 minutes left.
I haven't tried the regular route because I get my stuff from a different server. Because I get the newest and freshest builds.
Yeah, I'll keep giving it a try, and maybe I'll get some luck getting it, and then if I do, then I'll get that up. I'd love to get it downloaded so I can get it as one of the videos queued up for next week. Next week, of course, I will.
Something to try out and then tell the guys about if there is a problem with it.
Yeah, I'll try it again tomorrow from a couple different Wi-Fi spots. So next week I will not be around at all. I'm in the middle of the woods, no cell signal capabilities, and I'll be teaching a course in the middle of the woods. So I'm going to have a few videos queued up. It depends on how many I get up and ready. So obviously no Thursday night live. Weekly news roundup may or may not happen. I'm leaning towards probably not. I did it last year from the camp, but I also wasn't teaching last year. So teaching takes a ton out of me.
No news roundup.
We may not have a weekly news roundup, but we'll see. We'll see. No promises on that. But
that's like really popular.
I don't know. It's 50-50. I mean, I don't know. I think, though, my whole channel is completely under assault by the YouTube overlords. Like, I've been doing the cubes tutorials. The first one was like 3,000 views. The second one was, over 1,000. The third one I just put up yesterday, and it is the lowest viewed video in 24 hours that I've had in 2 years.
You cubed them to death.
Yeah, I don't even think it's crossed 500 views.
You went from cube to square.
Apparently. But anyway, if you are interested in cubes, we did the cubes cube manager, and we'll do the device manager in the next video. That'll be queued up for Monday. That's actually already done and ready to go. I just haven't uploaded it yet. And then I don't know if I'll have something for Saturday this week. I don't know. It's just going to depend on how many things I get set up. We do have the Writing Done Right video. We have relaunched that channel. I'm uploading on Tuesdays. A lot of LibreOffice stuff over there. So if you're into LibreOffice, ton of advanced tutorials over there. I just did one today on developing. Well, hold on. Today's Thursday. Okay, so the Tuesday's video I was doing. Did I do on Tuesday? Might have to just go check it out on the channel. Oh, on this week I did various alternatives for authoring software. So Microsoft Office, LibreOffice. We talked only Office. We did cloud infrastructures. Next Tuesday we're going to be LibreOffice and business cards and things like that. So that channel is surprisingly my second fastest growing channel, despite not uploading anything for 18 months. And so I figured I can cross monetization pretty quick on that. I bet. Let's go for it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we've relaunched that. So I have a video already set up for that. I have, I'll have a couple videos set up for the Christian channel over next week, although next Thursday will not be good. And, then Switch to Linux is the last channel I need to work on things on. So anyway, let me check back in on comments, and then we will actually get into the meat of the topic, talking different Linux distributions. Lamerzon, greetings. Yes, I shaved off the beard. El Nina is here. Endeavor OS. Endeavor OS is pretty good. I'm using that on one of my production systems. That works pretty well for me. I guess the Starlink is good as a snow melter and a cat bed. Good to know. Lamer likes Ubuntu. Very good. Peppermint seemed to take a few steps backward. It's kind of what I thought on the last release, but I think there's some strength to it, though. I really think that they tightened it up, but I really want to look at the new version.
Yeah, the new version's came a long way from the first release.
Okay.
I mean, there's got to be something to it, because in our on our forums and especially in Matrix, we're getting people from outside the country that are sucking it up, and they're asking us questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good. I think Peppermint's might have needed to take a few steps back just to change directions, and I think that's going to be a good thing in the long run. I really like the fact that it's more distributions are dropping Ubuntu, because I think a lot of the Ubuntu-based distributions, including Linux Mint, are starting to have a few problems. A lot of it's because Ubuntu's getting lazy with the package bases, and they don't want to put the dependencies in because snaps.
They're switching.
That was Mark Graves' position before he passed away. Is he wanted to take Peppermint out of the Ubuntu realm and put it in the Debian realm.
Awesome.
Right.
It's good to see that.
That's common knowledge, and so the guys that are left on the team that are they're really intelligent guys. If you have a question in the forums, they're there to answer it for you better than I could.
Yeah.
I mean, they get really technical with some stuff. They tell you where to find stuff and everything else. And most of it's all at SourceForge.
Pop OS fine for beginners. Me, I want to do with any OS that has snaps installed by default. Ross Review, even Linus screwed up Pop OS. While I was critical of that video, I do have to say that the reason he screwed it up is there was legitimately a bug in Pop OS.
Yeah.
However, he didn't heed the warnings that he should have heeded, being a computer guy. Debian 11, all right. Got another vote for Pop OS. Snaps are slow. If you use older hardware, they're even worse. Yeah. Try with wget or curl.
We have someone in the comments that says, what about LMDE?
LMDE. Next time I need to rebuild my operating system, I'm going LMDE. I think it's ready. And you ran it for a while, Dan. What do you think?
I ran the Buster version, which was 10. I ran it for a really long time. It was stable, and I enjoyed it. It came with a more up-to-date Cinnamon, but they take their time releasing the new one after Debian comes out with their new release. I mean, they take almost a half a year longer. And I wasn't about to wait to go from 10 to 11. So I installed Debian 11 with their version of Cinnamon from the Debian repositories. And it works just as good. It's almost the same. You don't get the Mint updater with it, which was a big thing I liked about it, but it's pretty close. The Mint team does add their goodies to the LMDE to make it.
Yeah, I think that if Mint more higher prioritized LMDE and started to down prioritize the Ubuntu version, I bet they would come out a lot sooner, which would be good.
It's highly stable. Anything you want from Debian that's in their repositories, you can get through LMDE in their repositories. And it's really nice distro. It's just that their lag time to put it together is just way too long, you know.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump into our basic topic. We just want to talk best Linux distributions in 2022 based on our various experiences. I'll go ahead and lead this one up, and then I'll pass it on to other folks. We have Ivan, and we have an Ivan impersonator on right now. This is who's the real Ivan. All right. So for me, I still like my Linux Mint. However, I can say that the Linux Mint 20.3, I do have a few problems that are popping up here and there. I think are mostly based on the Ubuntu core. These are the problems that I have noted that I can remember off the top of my head. Number one, oftentimes transferring files to USB ports becomes excessively slow and even starts to lag out after a while. It will drop USB ports sometimes, and this occurs on both of my Linux Mint 20.3 machines. So I don't think it's when one's Ryzen, one's Intel, one's Dell, one's custom built. And so it's a very consistent thing. Another issue is the volume, like the audio. It's there's as much as pulse audio being a meme in Linux, I have never had a problem with pulse audio until Linux Mint 20.3. Now, so oftentimes when we're starting these supporter streams, I completely forget that I need to be on headphones, and I unplug my my basic little headphone speaker jack here that goes into my main audio speakers to plug in my headphones, and simply unplugging the jack causes pulse audio to completely lose track of where the 3.5 millimeter jack is. So even when I plug in headphones, I have to kill Jitsi, kill pulse audio, sometimes just restart the desktop environment, and then I can get my audio back. I've never had those problems with any previous versions. It's just 20.3.
Hey, Tom, you need to come over to the Debian world with the rest of us here that don't have these problems. I'm even on Pipewire, and it works great.
Yeah, but this is the first distro I've ever had a problem with that. And I think I've had a few maybe minor things here and there that I have not been able to confirm are one thing or the other. But basically, I've seen a few little issues, odds and ends. That being said, I would still recommend Linux Mint 20.3 with those warnings, or I'd say, hey, let's have a look at Linux Mint Debian Edition, because it's based on Debian, more stable, and does not, to my knowledge, have a lot of these issues. The other ones I'm using in production, I'm still using MX Linux for writing books. So MX Linux is working fine for that. Although my language tool plugin on LibreOffice does not seem to work. I need to get that resolved because I'm done with a draft of my next book and I just need to do my editing, and I would like that working. And then I'm using Endeavor OS for my media PC, which I have almost no complaints about. The latest version, occasionally Cinnamon crashes on start, and the latest version messed up the icon packs. I'm probably just need to update one of the icon packs. Other than that, it works great, and I'm also using Manjaro on the Raspberry Pi. Now, Endeavor OS just released a Raspberry Pi build in beta, and I would like to test that out. And hey, I have a spare Raspberry Pi down here. Maybe I can do that. So those are the ones I'm looking at right now. As my top, and I have not had any real issues with any of those. Of course, for a brand new user, you may not want to try Endeavor just because it's more archy. There's more things you might need to do. Manjaro would be a good start. Linux Mint Debian Edition would be a good start. MX Linux would be a good start. Those are my thoughts. And whoever else, Ivan, before you disappear again, you want to jump in, or are you still having issues?
Yeah, I think the general connection to my home is kind of messed up right now. My son is having issues too.
You're phasing in and out like some Harry Potter wizard disapparating.
So. We need to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, you're just phased out too. Mike's frozen.
Michael Lindoff says MX is without these problems, and that's right. MX is a great distro. You get a lot of stuff with it, but it is kind of overwhelming to the first-time Linux user, and they will need to figure it out.
Yeah, MX does have a lot more options, I think.
But it is an excellent distro. Dolphin and the gang really know their stuff. It's built. Yeah. I mean, their XFC version comes with I forgot the name of it. It turns the bar in the bottom for the program into a box, kind of like Cinnamon does now. There's a plugin they get from GitLab or GitHub that actually does that for XFCE, and they got it to work and work perfectly. I haven't been able to get it to work on Peppermint yet.
All right. Ivan, you back or not yet?
Hello, Toss.
Hey, guy.
All right. World of Unix, let's have you jump in. What are your thoughts and basis?
All right, so I need to tell a little bit on what I'm using. So I'm multi-platform, so I use Windows, Mac OS, and Linux all together. So by itself, I use Linux for different things, and then I use Windows for my work-related stuff, right? In a virtual machine that's inside Mac OS, and Mac OS is for all the other stuff, all my creative stuff like making music and just creative stuff, and Linux for all the other things that I want to do. So right now I've been using Linux Mint Debian Edition, at least on my computer and on my Lenovo laptop, and overall it's been working pretty great. And versus like the Linux Mint Ubuntu Edition, I recommend the Debian edition instead of the Ubuntu, because it seems that like Ubuntu based distributions aren't working quite right. Like every single distribution that I've been trying, Elementary OS, which is based on Ubuntu, had some issues. Then I tried Ubuntu Unity just to see what it was. I tried Lubuntu and Xubuntu and all those things, like the latest version, and they always had some glitches and bugs and lots of problems. So I really don't recommend Ubuntu-based distributions, and I rather prefer to use Debian or anything else. So that's really my stance on what it is. However, my two favorite distributions, right, would be Fedora or Debian. Or it could be Linux Mint Debian Edition.
Fedora is really gaining some popularity lately.
Yeah.
I know. Overall, it's pretty great. I only had one specific issue where one specific application for a VPN, EOVPN or something like that. Every time I clicked on it, it just crashed my entire system. But that was the only problem. Other than that, it was really stable. So that's really the only thing. But I think it's a Wayland issue, because then again, Wayland is kind of perfect, but still
has some bugs they need to iron out.
Yeah.
Wayland don't play very good with NVIDIA graphics cards either.
Yeah, I have an AMD graphics card, but even then, there's just some little quirks and bugs that are still around. So that's why I switched to Linux Mint Debian Edition, which still uses X11, and overall it's more stable than Wayland. But between the two, it's still pretty good in either case. So I really recommend those two distributions as a start. Like everything from, at least you get some security, because Fedora has a security enhanced Linux, and at least you get some privacy, but the ease of use and overall stability is really good. So you get like the best of both worlds in those distributions, honestly. And all the other distributions are more like for specific types of people that either want to customize really their system or they want to do lots of things with it. So I guess it really depends up to you if you want to go beyond that. Yeah.
All right. Ivan, I think you're back. You've been back for like 2 minutes yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I've kind of lost track of everything just because I restarted my router, and I've got my North Conway cam is like not working. That's something else. My son he's not in VR, so I know that's not the issue. I think it's just Comcast in the area is just messed up right now.
Of course.
So yeah, I lost track. So my apologies.
Yeah, but you're not the one who are supposed to fix that. Isn't Chief Tyrrell supposed to fix those things?
If I have to get Baltar on it, I'm done.
Yeah, apparently we have two guys on here on the same spaceship. Which spaceship is it again?
Right.
It's
That's
Galactica.
Galactica. Okay.
Yeah. I'm in the CIC, and he is on the flight deck.
Yeah,
So I guess
Selby,
I'm
we'll jump up
using
with you for now. What's your thoughts on advice to people switching over? Which distros should they try out? Things like that.
There is two ways of answering these questions. If they really have no idea, if they know someone who is using Linux, talk to them and hear what they recommend. Because if you need some help, chances are they are the one you are going to go for in the
and hire them as tech support.
Yeah, but because they would are likely to recommend the distribution that they are running themselves.
Yeah.
So if they have any questions, they know how. How
if you are listening to Salbu's advice, if you have a friend who uses Gentoo,
yeah. Yeah, but so there's that. But for Linux Mint, either the standard or the Debian edition is one way to go. It's modern and it has a long support cycle. But if you want the new and shiny and want some that is regularly updated by people who actually who really know what they're doing, and you want to game and you want whatnot, then Fedora is what I would recommend. Because it's they update every 6 months or every 9 months or so.
Yep.
And so you might need to update.
No, I think we lost him. Did we lose everybody or just him?
You need to update.
Okay. Yeah, we lost you a little bit there, but I think we got the gist of it.
I lost everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe everybody lost everybody. I don't know.
I have one.
I know OBS did not fluctuate, so maybe it's my server. So my Jitsi server is right now is a little overwhelmed. So of course I do a lot of web design stuff, and I have more projects I'm working on. So I had to start using the Jitsi server as a bleed over for my development servers until people get their websites transferred over and off of my development server. And so it's causing, I think that it's because I have a few bloated WordPress websites on the Jitsi server right now, I think is what's causing our problems. Because everything was working fine before I installed that WordPress 6.0 stupid monstrosity. Lord.
I would recommend if you're going to help somebody install a distro that's going to use, and they're going to, they're going to come back and ask you for assistance now and then, give them a distro that uses a package manager that you know very well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know the Fedora, how to install software and fix packages, don't give them the Fedora if you don't use it.
And not only that, you need to know how the control panel work, and because the package manager is only one thing of things that they want to try to do, such as connecting hardware, and you don't necessarily need to install drivers, but you might need to know how to configure the hardware and so on. So knowing how to do all those things is you need to select a distro that you know how to use.
Yeah, I guess I must say for older computers, especially with older hardware, Linux is like great because you know how Windows and macOS usually drop support for older hardware as well. Yeah. That's like a big problem, and I realized that Linux really supports well the older hardware. So if you have an old computer and you have that old hardware that didn't work because it wasn't supported anymore, Linux might just work as expected and very well.
I don't think there's any more distros except for Debian that supports 32-bit.
Oh,
Debian based.
I have a short story about that. I think it was last year or the year before. I'm not sure. I am a packager for the Manjaro distribution.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have been with them since 2012 or so. Last year or the year before, on our development mailing list, we had a discussion. There was a proposal in order. There was some package that that was hard to compile on 32-bit, and it was not impossible, but it was hard to get it to compile on a 32-bit. And so there was the maintainer of this package asked if he could bump the 32-bit requirement from 586 to 686. And then fairly quickly, within the course of a day, one or two people showed up on the mailing list saying that they would understand if we did bump up to 686, but they actually used proper 586 hardware that would so they couldn't upgrade anymore. So there are people who still use from day to day, maybe not as the desktop, but they are using actual 586 hardware, which is 20 years old at this point. And it works very well with the newest Magia 8, which is our newest. So
my experience with 32-bit machines so far is if you have to go down that route, keep in mind that snap packages aren't going to work. So forget about snap.
Or Flatpak.
Flatpak is very thin. You'll find almost nothing for that. App images, the only thing for an app image I've been able to find is Bologna Etcher in 32-bit. And what I got when I was researching this is app image don't have a toolkit to build app images for 32-bit. Bologna Etcher built their own.
Wow.
Wow.
Void apparently has 32 bits. So we have.
Is it Debian based?
Void. It wasn't an Arch, I think, like an Arch derivative, or it's its own thing. I can't remember. I am calling Void right now the new Gentoo. People do not like it when you diss Void, and I had a lot of reasons to say it's not particularly good, and so I had a lot of people leave me really bad comments, basically wishing my early demise and stuff for not liking Void. so it's the new Gentoo.
That reminds me. I think it's 10 years ago now in one of the IC chat rooms that I hang out in. Someone commented that someone actually tried to install Gentoo on I don't remember if it was a 486 or a 586, but they bootstrap in order to compile the kernel and the so on. Just a bootstrap step used a week.
Yeah.
So
Arch has a 32-bit. Of course, Peppermint derivative of Debian does as well.
Antix is actually a Debian build.
Antix does have a 32-bit. Isn't there a 32-bit still with MX?
MX, I don't know. It might be. I think Antix might be the alternative.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about MX that much, even though I've tried it a couple times.
Yeah.
Antix is something that is extremely lightweight. It comes with the most lightweight desktop you ever did see. It's got minimal things going on in it.
Yep.
MX Linux does have a 32-bit version, it seems.
They do. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought they did. Void is an independent Linux distro, is what the users using Void are telling me here.
My understanding is that most distros still have a 32-bit option, although more and more are dropping a 32-bit as we go along.
Yeah.
Well, up until 2038, when Unix time.
I just saw a post about one of the. I think it was the latest kernel release.
Would you say 2038?
Because
we'll destroy the world by then.
By then, everybody at least be on ARM processors.
Because the problem is that the Unix epoch, the way that Unix count time from January 1st, 1970, and the 32-bit integer that they are using to count the time loops around to 1901 in 2038. But they have one of the changes that they did to the latest kernel release, or the previous kernel release, I don't remember, was that they have bumped this loop around to 2,400 and something. So we have a few years left.
Oh, would you look at that?
Yeah, there's a few in the comments here that says Debian has 32-bit. So does Sparky. So does MX. And you're going to find everything that's Debian based will probably have a 32-bit.
Yeah, isn't Sparky a Debian based?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Keegan, I don't live near the beach, but I'm pretty sure there's a hurricane moving through right now. I don't know. Maybe. Does that mean I'm going to get wet in a few hours? Oh, man. Actually, yeah, bring the water, please. It might cool things down. We're still holding on at 34C here right now, so I'm kind of melting.
You might actually have to close your windows.
My lawn is all burned up, so I haven't had it mowed in a month.
Oh, yeah.
I even tried, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Rocky Linux, and I think not exactly Alpine, but it's Alpine, the other one. Didn't work very well. I think it's really for specific purposes. You can't really make it work like a workstation like you really want it to. It's really for either using it as a server or a very specific workstation. It can't be general.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that in those distributions that I found. So I'm kind of stay away from that unless I'm using it for a server, though.
Yeah.
And a lot of projects are using the Red Hat or one of the forks for server use. FreePBX is one of the distros. One of the projects that uses the Red Hat Enterprise as the base. They used CentOS, but I'm not sure if they have switched to one of the newer ones as the things move forward.
Yeah,
Solus is very nicely put together, but it's like in its own world.
Yeah, Solus. I've not heard a lot about Solus lately.
We have a guy in the Linux Saloon, which used to be the Big Daddy Linux channel. He's a real advocate for Solus. He loves it.
Yeah.
But I guess
Mint Spider.
I'm going to jump over and let's have a brief look at Distro Watch. Of course, as we all know, Distro Watch is not necessarily the best place to go to figure out what the best distro is, as there's a lot of movement just based on who release schedules and things like that. Of course, looking at the hit page ranking, so that sometimes is a ranking just based on how many people come here looking for it. So MX Linux is topping the chart. Endeavor is number 2. Frank Zen asked about, has Endeavor been addressed? And I talked about it briefly. So if you're unfamiliar with Endeavor OS, it's basically Arch. Very, very few extra things on top of it. It allows you to build your own desktop environment, install your own desktop environment, and basically have a good working Arch system. It's not highly modified, few extra tools, nothing major. But it is a really good way if you want to run Arch without the complications of installing Arch. Endeavor OS is one of those. Is Arco? I haven't heard much about Arco lately, but Arco Linux was pretty good for a while. And of course I used Arch Labs for a while as well before I found Endeavor. Linux Mint is top of the list on number 3. That one's very popular, just Ubuntu based distribution that's actually easy to use and actually functions for the most part. Manjaro, controversial, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. Somebody just did a video on this. Was it TechHut or was it, I think it must have been TechHut. It was either TechHut or it was Linux Experiment talking about Manjaro being not even really close to Arch anymore. I can't remember. One of those two did it. It was a great video.
Not the most stable distro ever, though. I had some problems.
I've not had a ton of issues with Manjaro. But the video author on this one, the point he was making was that Manjaro is very highly customized Arch. They hold packages back for more testing and stuff. So it's kind of like Ubuntu is to Debian. But it is very user-friendly. They put a ton of polish into it, which is something a lot of distros don't necessarily do, is all that good polish. There is a lot of official builds and a lot of community builds for it, which is why the reason I'm using this in one of my production. It's my Raspberry Pi production. It's the only Raspberry Pi build I've seen that actually feels like a working complete operating system. It doesn't feel like it's...
Yeah, because they have an ARM build, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like Raspbian OS, Raspberry Pi OS or anything else that's basic.
Raspberry Pi OS is actually very good now.
Yeah.
And that one might work pretty well. I just wanted something a little bit flashier than Raspberry Pi OS to run my workflow. Maybe it's the Linux snob in me, but I wanted something a little bit better. I tried Debian, has a Raspberry Pi build, but it's missing a lot of core features. At least
it's not that good.
There's Pop OS. This is a decent one. I'd say maybe slightly more advanced for a brand new user, but it is a really good first operating system. There's Ubuntu, and the less we say about that, the better, right?
Yeah.
No, some people still like Ubuntu. They've done a lot of great things for Linux. I just think the concern is a lot of people who switch to Linux to get away from all of the nonsense in the rest of the computing world. Ubuntu is trying to bring all of that nonsense into the Linux world, and that's why there's some disdain for it.
The best thing that Ubuntu brought to market was that they made Linux easy to use. A lot of the distributions already had this Manjaro back in the day, but they also had for a couple of years, many years after that, they had an offer on the website that if you didn't have a CD burner or you didn't have, they would mail you a free CD with Ubuntu already on it.
Yeah,
so it was easy to get started.
That and they've done a lot for the SEO of Linux. Of course, the first time I saw Linux, I had this stupid little compact computer that was built where literally they're plugging the hard drive directly into the main frame of the computer. And every time you just slide the thing across the desk, it sent all that shock directly into the hard drive. They went through 3 hard drives in like 2 months. So I'm like, can you run Windows off an external drive? Which at that point in time you couldn't, but I found this crazy little operating system called Ubuntu that would. So I'm like, well, let's install that because I'm not going to put another regular hard drive in this thing right now. And it worked great. It really did. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then, once I got rid of that job, I stopped using it for a while. Then I came back when Windows 10 happened. So, But yeah, so there are a lot of good fun options. I think the overarching principle is there's not one distro that's perfect for everybody. If you know somebody running Linux, ask them for some thoughts.
And this also brings up the question that I've seen a few people asking over the last few months. Why is there so many Linux distributions? There are a few YouTubers who are talking about the idea that they should all merge and create a really good one that everyone can get behind. The problem is that there are so many people who have so many different opinions on what should be on the default installation, what packages should be included, and what packages should absolutely not be included. And so they make their own, and
And I agree. Linux may be too fragmented, but I'd rather it be too fragmented than have one perfect distro because it's going to devolve into something garbage.
When someone asks me why there's so many Linux distros out there, I reply like this: why is there so many YouTubers out there?
I know, right?
Why are there so many types of cars?
They all want to get themselves noticed in one way or another.
Yeah, and sometimes that leads to bad Linux distributions. Just not bad like they're horrible groups, but it's just like things that's just like it's Ubuntu with new wallpaper and 2 applications installed that's already in the repository. That's not a distro.
One thing that YouTube and Linux have in common is they both have merch stores if they're popular.
There you go. Yep.
Right.
And then you also have a few distributions that are made that started as a joke. One of them is Ubuntu Christian Edition, started as a joke. It's still around, and they just had a new release, I heard.
Yeah, they were
2 months after they had their first release, someone made Ubuntu Satanic Editions, and the installation
Hannah Montana.
Yeah, and the installation instructions for the Satanic Edition said that in order to install this, you first have to install the Christian Edition.
Well, is there a brand new Satanic Edition? I mean, I missed it if there is. I mean, I looked at the Satanic Edition years ago.
There's a new Christian edition.
Oh, is there? Cool. I'll have to look into it
this year.
Yeah, because the Christian edition was kind of defunct for a while, and then it came back. And when it came back as they put a lot of cool things into it. I did a review of it a few weeks back, which was good. And then, but the original Satanic edition was simply Ubuntu with wallpapers. There weren't even any applications. It was wallpapers. That's all it was. A wallpaper and a theme. Like, this is not a distro. I mean, try again, you crazy Satanist, you. But you know,
yeah.
So
I'll have to look into the new Satanic edition.
And I also suspect that the Satanic edition was created by Christians to be funny.
It was probably produced by the Satanic Temple, which is separate from the Satanic Church. One is in New York and one, I think, New York, and the other is in San Francisco. But the Satanic Temple, they are pretty much nothing but a trolling organization. You know, every time they see something for freedom of religion type stuff, they got to throw in with their statue of Moloch or something, which, I'm sorry, if you're putting up a statue of Moloch, you're not a Satan worshiper, you're a Moloch worshiper. Deal with it, you know.
Do you really need to put the gateway to hell in your computer? Come on now.
Well, I mean, if you are running Windows, you already are running the gateway to hell. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. You guys on Windows, it's okay. We like to have fun, though. This is a Linux channel. We like to have fun and poke jokes at it. We poke jokes at ourselves, too.
Yeah. And so going back to the Distro Watch page, there is a lot of distributions here on this list that going back by this page it doesn't look like they're popular. There are 100 distros on the front page ranking, and people who are looking for what to install, don't pay attention. My advice is don't pay attention to what is popular and not. Find something that you know how to use, and if you like it, then stick with it.
Hey, look at that. Makulu's on 100.
Yeah.
That fell.
Yeah, I guess one of the things is how, well, there's so many Linux distributions, but most of them can do all the basic stuff. I like to compare most of them to like Chrome OS. You know, like Chrome OS is basically like web-based. You're able to go on the web and do all your stuff, right? And it works great. And for most people, they only need to go on the internet. They don't have to really have like any specific applications that they need, right? And maybe LibreOffice, for example, if you still need like word editing, or you might want to do a few things, but that's all they need. And Linux can definitely do that. And it's way better than Chrome OS because it's not Google, right? But unless if you would need, I don't know, more application support or, you know, more tools, that's where that Debian seems to be like the best for at least support from like companies, especially with Steam, right? Because they still use Debian for their base. And you got lots of VPN providers. You got lots of applications that just have Debian packages, right? Just ready to go. So you don't have to worry about doing this complicated process of installing everything, right?
Steam runs really good on Linux, and a lot of games from the Steam store do too. And it's getting to the point where you don't have to add so many special commands in the command launch bar to get your game up and to run without bugs. They're really refining Proton.
Like I could install Steam on my Linux Mint Debian edition and it would work just fine. Right.
There is an alternative to Chrome OS that I've known about for 4 or 5 years at this point. One of the distributions on the Distro Watch, I noticed it one of the bottom ones. Cloud Ready is one of those. It is an alternative to Chrome OS that you can install on your own hardware and have a Chrome OS like work environment. And there is a paid and a free version of that. So
And
One thing
Appliance guy here says install Windows and get your first order of soy bugs free. There you go. We will all be insects if we bow to the likes of Mr. Gates. That's for sure.
I mean, versus the two companies, I prefer at least Apple, not for the company, but just the operating system itself. At least I like Mac OS because it's Unix based, right? So all the terminal commands that I learned from Linux, I can also apply it to Mac OS and vice versa. That's really the only reason why I prefer using Mac OS instead of going with Windows, right?
Yeah, if you have to use a normie distro, right?
Yeah.
All right, we are closing in on 8 o'clock, so I think we're going to wrap this guy up here. But anyway, yeah, so best answer, best Linux distro for 2022? I don't think there is one. Just use what's going to work for you. We've hopefully given you a few ideas of things to try out, at least. And there's no shame in jumping to one that somebody absolutely loves, and you're like, it's not for me. Let's jump to something else. That's cool, too. There's a lot of Linux distributions out there that are good that I don't particularly like. So, whatever that's worth. So, Dan, give us your final words.
I've noticed this year that there's been a lot of like almost an explosion at GitHub and GitLab with new software projects. And if you're looking for a piece of brand new software to do something, them are good places to search and look for things like OpenSnitch and my Uzi is a music thing that fetches music from YouTube. That was something that was brought to my attention. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just coming out of them places.
They're good too. I'm using OpenSnitch right now, so if ever I see something that's suspicious, just block it. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
I tried to get it to run, and I couldn't get it to build or run or anything.
Yeah,
But
well, it depends on what you're
I've talked to other
right?
people, and other people have been able to get it to work. I'm just too lazy, I guess.
Yeah, because I guess the biggest thing is that you have two Debian packages. The first one is the actual software itself, and then you got the UI for it. But sometimes what might happen is that you need to do systemctl start OpenSnitch first. If you have some problems, you have to just run some stuff in order to get it really working. So I guess it really depends on.
That's probably where I got it all messed up, because you're describing exactly, where I went. Do you get the first one, or do you get the GUI package?
You install the OpenSnitch, not the GUI one first, and then you install the UI, and then you launch the UI, and then it should work. And if it still doesn't work, you do systemctl start, and then OpenSnitch. That's the daemon for it that actually runs everything. So
see, Satanic Linux is back. That demon.
Yeah, see, I didn't download both of them. I just went for the GUI, hoping something would happen. What can you say? It's summertime out. I don't want to spend all my time in front of a computer. I want to go outside, ride my bike, suck in the fresh air, go to the lake and go water skiing now and then.
Interesting. Even when the RGB light system is on a charger, it exhausts its battery faster than it inputs it from the charger. Very interesting. Okay, well, Selby, what are your final words?
So it's the same as I said at the start. If you don't know how to start, find someone a friend or someone that already is running Linux, and ask what they recommend. And say one of the things that people need to do is talk about what they are wanting to do. If you are someone who really don't care about any kind of gaming, then any distribution would satisfy you. Whereas if you are an avid gamer, then there are a few distributions that you should select instead of many of the popular ones, for instance. So ask them tell them what you want to do and what you are using the computer for mostly, and they would most likely recommend something that would work very nicely for you.
Yep. All right. We are gonna wrap this one up here. Tomorrow, weekly news roundup. So you guys can come back for that, and then I can't promise a weekly news roundup next week. If you just jumped on, I will be off grid all of next week. I may not even get a chance to check news at all throughout the week. I'm going to schedule as many videos as I can just to get some content up. And I have a few things already set to go and a few more that I'm planning on doing. Distro reviews and things like that for you guys. But anyway, I'm going to be pretty much off next week.
I think you need to turn off the computers for a week and go out and suck into nature.
Well, unfortunately, since I'm teaching, I have to be running the computers in order to run my presentation, but it's a completely different way of messing with my computers. I have been watching GMO documentaries lately because I'm teaching on molecular nutrition, and we want to discuss some of the aspects. It's one I have not made up my complete mind on, although I'm leaning towards, if you make me choose, I think I'm going to lean towards no GMOs, just because once they get out into the world, you can't put them back. And despite the propaganda on one end saying there is no adverse effects at all, the people on the other end seem to have a lot of peer-reviewed adverse effects. And so, are they necessarily bad? Do we need to analyze the science? Maybe, but, I think that there are some fundamental problems. And then, of course, third world countries, little children in third world countries seem to be the Monsanto testing ground for things. And it turns out that other than don't say that too many times. You might summon the demon to take us down. But several of the BT plants that they have done have come back with a lot of serious adverse effects. Of course, BT corn is one of the most commonly used genetic modified organism here in the United States, right behind these Roundup Ready soybeans. So I'm looking at all this stuff, and so I'm watching some seriously pro-GMO. I'm watching some seriously anti-GMO stuff and looking at the different things. It's like, can anybody come up with a balanced view and come in and be like, okay, here's what these guys on this side says, here's these guys this, but because you look at the documentaries, and I watched, is it called Seeds of Destruction? I think I watched that one. Everyone over there's like, it's all evil, it's all bad, it's all going to kill you, all this kind of stuff. And then you watch the pro guys, it's like, they'll bring on the geneticists, like, there is no research at all that suggests there's a problem with any of this. I'm just like, okay, lady, these guys are actually, you're telling me, you're beheading, pretending you're Fauci, telling me without any scientific evidence what you want me to hear. These guys are actually pulling from PubMed and scientific reviews. And so the
issue is it's not easy to say for and against GMOs, because some of the GMO research that has been done over the how many years it has existed is having a good effect, like having some crops resist sickness and weed and so on. It's a good thing, and increasing yield or the output. The bad thing that comes with that can come with this territory is that if they are modifying it so that you have to keep buying seeds from the manufacturer. Then
that to me is the biggest issue. Is like, if you're wanting to say this is the salvation and what we have to do to have sustainable food on this planet, why do we only have exactly one gatekeeper?
Yeah, one company.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So the problem is again patents.
Yeah,
that is the whole route to
from one company.
Yeah,
and that is an issue. So Plants Guy says, you're telling me I don't have 3 cows and 5 chickens in the van? No, I tried, but I got over that weight limit, and so I had to let the cows go. Yeah. But I'm thinking about building a chicken coop on the roof. Embrace the Amish life. And that's the one area in the class that I don't have a ton of background in. It's just tangential, so I'm spending a lot of this week, looking at that. But yeah, we had a lot of fun stuff going. I literally bought a whole bunch of stuff that I will never eat in my lifetime just to show and sample as things, including I found a $7 box of protein powder at an Ollie's. What do you guys think?
No.
Is that going to be good for you or bad for you?
Bad. I don't use that stuff. I exercise, but I really don't want to use that stuff.
And any protein powder guys in here, does it taste good? Apparently, I just mixed 2 scoops of that thing into 4 ounces of water and drink it. Is that how that works? I don't know.
Supposed to make your beard grow faster.
Oh, joy. I don't need my beard.
It's temporary, right? It's not permanent. That's the problem.
Well, no. If you're building protein, like getting excess protein is not a bad thing.
Exactly.
So I mean, that protein powder, as long as it's not nasty, I'll use it. I'm not going to buy more, but I'll use it up. Maybe if no other reason, get rid of the belly, shift a little bit of mass to muscle.
But I should
ripped
say
and buff,
you should get at least your protein from actually meat and other sort of products before you go with the protein.
Eggs is the most bioavailable source of natural protein. One of the things that's come along since I've been in the nutrition field like 10 years ago is that we actually now have the ability to get, for the people that want to go vegan, vegetarian purely, you can actually now get plant-based protein powders that have all of the essential amino acids, but it's all, highly scientifically engineered food, and I just don't see that as a good diet.
Yeah, it carries a heavy price too.
Yeah, because pretty much all of that's from soy, and so now it's like, you're taking your daily doses of estrogen treatments. I guess if I could just convert myself into a tranny and take all my soy protein powders and be all good. It's ma'am. I mean, so it'd be anyway. We've gone late and we are way off topic, and I don't know how many subscribers we just lost on that rant, but
get some gluten-free Linux out there.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with weekly news roundup, probably off on Saturday, and then I will schedule videos throughout next week, and then we'll be back. Like the following week's also weird. Like I'll be able to do stuff, but it's going to be a weird week because I'll be at conferences all next week. Protein powder is pure lazy, just eat food. There you go. Yeah. Usually look for pea protein versus soy. I think this has both. Let me grab it. If you guys are protein guys, you can tell me. Now I'm sure there's higher quality stuff at Walmart, but what do you buy at Ollie's for $8, man? Look at that. It's whey isolate protein. So whey is not bad. It's certainly one of the best. But according to this, it contains whey protein from milk and lecithin from soy, and it's gluten-free. It's like, I would like to know how much soy is in there, because if like this is containing high doses of estrogen, I'm just not sure it's good.
You start growing a chest, you'll know.
Yeah.
But, hopefully there's no drugs inside of there. Like, is it white powder?
I mean, it is white powder. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it good? Is it going to be okay to eat? Ollie's food. Generally, you're taking your life into your own hands, and there is a scoop in here somewhere. I just don't know where it went. I'll have to dig it out when I'm ready to bust the thing open. But I got
next week on Switch to Linux. Is it good for you to eat? Follow us next week.
If I come back with a third eye in a couple of weeks, you'll know it's bad. Plans Guy says toss it. Let's see. Justin Norris, greetings. By the way, I've removed Ubuntu 22.04 and went back to 20.04. It works much better. Absolutely. Yes, you need the beard back. Fall is right around the corner. Hey, if you saw how fast that beard grows, I can wait until the snow falls, and 3 weeks later I'll have a bush. I mean, come on. All right, so post exercise, take exercise and then take my protein powder. All right, yeah. And that's what all of my knowledge is. Like, I know a lot about the nutrition stuff. I don't ever take that. One of the things I bought like keto cookies, which is a contradiction in terms. These are like keto diet cookies with 10 or 20 grams of carbohydrates. All right, that's not keto. But it's branded as such, and I got it to demonstrate. I got some Atkins bars that are like Mounds bars. I'm gonna buy some Mounds bars to, give them a try. But anyway, yeah, we gotta get out of here. We'll catch you guys later. Enjoy.